Commissioner Thomas.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. I'll take us item number 3, call to the public. If you wish to speak, please complete a speaker card and submit it to the chairman prior to the start of the meeting. The procedures to follow if you address the commission are as follows. The commission requests that you express your ideas in 3 minutes or less and refrain from any personal attacks or derogatory statements about any city employee, a fellow citizen, or anyone else, whether in the audience or not. The chairman will limit discussions whenever he deems such action is appropriate for the proper conduct of the meeting. Do we have any speaker cards tonight? No speaker cards? Is there anybody who would like to address the commission at this point? For the call to the public? Seeing none, I'll close the call to the public. That's the item number 4 for review of the commission meetings and acceptance for August 12th, 2024.
Chairman, I move approval as submitted.
Motion by Commissioner Irvin. Do I have a second? Second by Commissioner Brem. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Takes us to item number 5, our regular agenda items. 5.1 is DRP 24-07, the Planning Commission update, the Major Development Review case number DRP 24-07 of the Rohrer Stonegate, a request by Greg Davis of iPlan Consulting on behalf of the property owner Stonegate BFC LLC and development and future owner Rohrer's Companies for review of site, floor, elevation, landscape, and photometric plans for proposed multifamily development on approximately 9.56 acres of land within the city of Maricopa, generally located west of southwest corner of North Stonegate Road and West Allen Stevens Parkway. This will be for discussion only tonight for us to address the applicant. Take it away, Derek.
Good evening, Chairman Robertson, members of the Commission. Derek Shearer with the Planning Division of the Development Services Department, here to present agenda item 5.1. This is Rohrer Stonegate, DRP 24-07. The applicant on this project is iPlan Consulting on behalf of Stonegate BFC, LLC, the property owner, and Rohrer's Companies, who will be the developer. Its location, you can see on the vicinity map on the screen. It's at the northwest corner of West Maricopa Casa Grande Highway, North Stonegate Road, just a little bit west of the road there. The site is approximately 9.56 acres. This is for review of the site, floor, landscape, and elevation plans, as long as the photometric plans. The site has access off of Maricopa Casa Grande Highway. That is their main access, with emergency only access along Allen Stevens Parkway. If you see on the screen, apologize, looks like that image hasn't rendered quite properly on the bottom. Let me see if I can flip back and forward. All right, we have a technical error there. My apologies. What we are looking at, this is approximately, 7 3-story residential buildings with 216 residential units. These units will range in size from 2 to 3 and 4 bedroom units. The sizing of the units will range from 964 to 1,368 square feet. The site will be providing approximately 2.7 acres of open space. This open space will include a clubhouse with a leasing office, main amenities including open space areas, pool with sun deck, turf open play areas, ramada, and also a dog park. There will be internal and external trail connections. There's a proposed on that northwest side on the site plan, a linear park right there from where the entrance driveway ends all the way up to Allen Stevens. That's a pedestrian trail. As of right now, this development is required to provide 438 parking spaces. On the site plan previously, that was in the commissioner's packet. This is the first submittal of this. There's 404 spaces. That comment was made to the applicant. Applicant has revised their site plan. What we have on the screen is the revised site plan, which shows the required number of parking spaces. Of these required parking spaces, 5% will be electric vehicle charging ready. As we can see here on the next slide, We have the landscape plan. You can see in the lower left side, that green area, that is the dog park. That is the main entrance coming off of Maricopa Casa Grande Highway. On the top right of the image that you see there, that is the emergency access only. That means only emergency coming in. So there won't be any in-traffic coming along Allen Stevens Parkway there. Now we have the elevations of the proposed elevations. These are updated elevations. When the staff reviewed this, sent comments out to the applicant, these buildings did not have all of the balconies that are required or the patio spaces. The applicant has gone through their review, and they will be submitting the second review, which will have these elevations that do have the required patio and balcony spaces for each unit, going up all 3 stories and then also on the ground floor. The proposal is appropriate for the function of the site. It is zoned for multifamily. It is allowed. This is the Stonegate PAD site just next to Home Depot. We've seen other developments come in for multifamily. Right adjacent to it is a build-to-rent that has come through and has been presented before this commission. The color combinations and elevations appear well integrated and complementary. And prior to ultimate approval, all zoning ordinance requirements will be met. The applicant did their required notification for notification letters sent to property owners within 600 feet and also posting the site for this Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. Staff has not received comment from the public on this DRP application at this time. I'm happy to answer any questions that the commission may have. Also, the applicant's, the developer for Roars is available to answer any technical questions the commission may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Derek. Questions from the commissioners? Commissioner Singleton?
I have 2 questions, Derek. So you mentioned there will be no in-traffic off of Allen Stevens Parkway via the emergency access. Just want to confirm there will be no exiting of residents onto that via the emergency access. It's only for emergency personnel, correct?
That is my understanding, yes.
Okay. And then my second one is, yep, on this screen, so it's 438 spaces required, but they're providing 404 because of the 20%. But 5% of that is also, of the 404 is still going to be EV charging ready, right?
Chairman Robertson, Commissioner Singleton, they are required 438 spaces with the reduction. Okay. When it was first presented on the first submittal, there was only 404 spaces. There are now 438 spaces, which is reflected in this plan, if you counted all the spaces. We did not have time to update the commissioner's packet, update the staff report, because that had all been sent out already by the time staff received it. But staff felt that to give the most latest and greatest accurate information to the commission and to the public for this presentation, we put the most up-to-date plans that we had on the screen.
Awesome, thank you.
Commissioners? Commissioner Brem? We'll start on the end.
I had a quick question maybe for the developer. I know recently there's been a lot of talk, like in news media and stuff, about a growing concern about affordable housing and those types of questions. So my question was this, and I realize this is in advance of these things even being available, but I was wondering if the developer could comment to the public about what the rental or leasing costs for these kind of units might look like.
Hi, thanks for having me, Chairman, members of the board. Kevin Sturgeon, Roars Companies, appreciate the question. So the rental range is between the 2 to 4 bedroom type units, ranges depending on the number of persons in the bedroom type. So the range is about $1,100 to about $1,600. And I will note that we also we have a affiliate management company as well, so we'll be owners and managers long term of the property. So one of the things that is unique to us, I guess, as a developer, some other developers do it, is that is the end all be all rent for the prospective tenants. We do kind of an owner paid all utility structure, so us as the owners cover all the utilities, and then it's just the rent each month that they have to pay. So not subject to any additional electricity expenses or things like that. The owner covers those. So hopefully that answers your question.
Give that one more time. I didn't. The 2, 3, 4 bedroom. Could you? I guess I didn't hear your answer.
Yeah. Sorry, I'll repeat that. So The rental ranges are about 1,100, I think, to about 1,600 for the 4 bedrooms.
Thank you.
Commissioner Warris?
Okay, I just had a couple questions. I noticed on the first page of the preliminary site plan, it talks about a dry well. Could you explain to me what the purpose of that dry well and how it works? And
Yes.
I'm not sure. You got
Chairman Robertson, Commissioner Juarez, I would defer to technical expertise of the applicant
Okay.
on the operation of the dry well, the reason for it.
Chairman, members of the board, I'm back. Yeah, so certainly no civil engineer, but that dry well, in perspective to how we designed it, with the amount of kind of surface retention versus underground retention we have, is just a part of like the calculation to meet the city code requirements, to make sure that we have the necessary infrastructure, you know, for the demand of the prospective tenants. So that's kind of the extent of how much I can get into details, but I'd be more than happy to connect with our civil engineer on that and work through staff to get you, you know, more detail on that if you'd like.
So basically, it's designed to take all the runoff, like from the parking lot, and as a temporary holding tank, and then either it evaporates or drains to another facility?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay, my second question is, these parking structures, I notice they have solar panels on top. Is that basically for facility lighting, including these parking spots, or what's it going to be used for?
That's correct, yep. So the carport structures are obviously like what we see out here in the parking lot. We utilize solar to try to, you know, be more efficient with the electricity side of things. So we actually put the solar capabilities on top of the carports to act as like a solar carport, if you will. So those are kind of what you see on the screen there with kind of the dark gray shaded area. That's correct.
Okay, thank you. And then also with, staying along the lines of the parking, is there sufficient parking for visitors as well as residents? And are you going to separate visitor structures from the residents, or how is that going to work?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's guest required spaces per code, and obviously from a management perspective, we want to make sure that we're adequate with that. So as you sort of drive in on the southwest, the guest parking spaces are located primarily around kind of the clubhouse leasing office area, so that they can, you know, easily drive into the site and you know, park adequately. The reserved guest parking spaces around the clubhouse.
Okay, all right, thank you very much.
Anyone else? Mr. Irving?
Yeah, I'm just curious. You said the intent is to bring the product to market as soon as possible. I was just curious, rough time, because there's so much stuff going on in that area. We get asked that question all the time. What does that mean, as soon as possible?
Yeah, of course. Thanks for the question. So we are full steam ahead from kind of getting through the entitlement process and through construction documents and submitting for permit. You know, barring any unforeseen issues, the goal is to address, you know, any further questions that staff may have based on our initial submittal, address those on the next submittal, hopefully next week. And then once we have that, we'll be submitting for permits subsequently thereafter, so at some point in September. So optimistically, from our perspective, we'd love to, you know, get going and close and commence construction as soon as possible. I think on an optimistic timeline, and don't want to speak for the city, but we want to get in for permits as early as we can in September, so that we can try to break ground in November. So we will obviously, you know, work with staff to see what, you know, is a realistic timeline for them in their review, but that's the optimistic goal from my perspective. Thank you.
That's all.
Commissioner Yocum?
Just one question relative to the dry wells. My experience has been that dry wells are designed that the water should dissipate within 72 hours. Is that the standard?
Commissioner Yocum, is your mic on?
I just turned it on.
Oh. Could you repeat that
Oh,
question,
yeah,
please?
I'm sorry. My experience with dry wells is such that they're planned to dissipate the water within 72 hours at a lower level. Is that the case with this dry well we're discussing?
That is my understanding, but I will say, yeah, I don't want to quote myself on the logistics of how that actually works, but I'd be, again, more than happy to get any answers from our kind of civil engineer who's doing all the retention basin, dry well mitigation stuff, and get you, work through staff or work with you directly to get you anything you need.
Okay. And I think the solar panels you're putting on top of the parking roofs and whatever, I think that's part of the 3 items that you are adhering to, so you get the reduced parking number. Is that correct?
Yep, that is correct. And we actually have the Alto Apartments that's under construction off North Porter and Iron Point. We're doing the same sort of facility there with the solar carport. So it'll be kind of the same. I don't quite recall if they're up yet, but it'll be the same structures that are on that site.
Do we have any idea how much power it will produce and what kind of effect it might have on the electric bill?
Quantitatively, I don't off the top of my head, but I'd be happy to work with. We work with Commercial Solar and Hawkins Design, who Commercial Solar helps manufacture the carports and works with a group called Hawkins Designs, who comes up with the quantitative measures of trying to be as efficient as possible on the electricity. It'd be more than I don't have that off the top of my head, but would be more than happy to come up with anything you need.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, I have a couple comments. I think there's been a very deliberate, concerted effort to orient these buildings in a good way. I noticed that you're taking a special effort to prevent the canyon effect between buildings. I think that's good. And I also noticed that the buildings are oriented towards Allen Stevens Parkway, where only the ends of the buildings will face the parkway, so you don't have the 3-story windows looking out over. I think that's a good move. But I wonder what is the buffer between the actual property and Allen Stevens Parkway going to be a solid wall or a view fence, or a view fence with with the landscaping, or is it just going to be a solid wall? I didn't see that in the package.
Chairman Roberts said it will be a mix of view fencing where the open basins are. So
Okay.
The drivers on Allen Stevens will see the view fencing and look at the landscaped drainage basin, and then it'll partially be solid wall as well. And yes, the staff worked diligently with the applicant to orient the buildings on the site to minimize any intrusiveness that they may have on neighboring properties, residential properties, specifically across Allen Stevens Parkway to the north, rather than orient them instead of laterally, linearly, so less effect of windows looking down across the street. There is significant distance between these buildings and the rear property lines. I believe it's well over 100 feet from the buildings as they are now to the back walls of the properties on the other side of Allen Stevens Parkway.
Okay. All right, very good. Okay, this was for discussion only, where we have an opportunity to address the applicant. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to address the applicant or the commission at this time on this particular project? Come on up, please. Please state your name and your approximate address. Yep, come on up here.
On up front.
Come on up. You're the next contestant on The Price is Right.
I apologize, we didn't send in a question earlier.
Can you get a little closer to the mic, please, and state your name and your approximate address?
My name is Jenny Nightingale, and we live at 18168 North Arbor Drive. So where Allen Stevens is, we're just beyond the wall. And I thank you for sharing that there's about 100 feet between those properties and that wall. That's one of our questions we had. The other question we had is, I hear you're putting solar panels up, and that's awesome to hear. But we wondered about the light pollution. So were those lights always going to be on at those apartments, creating any kind of light pollution? And were those, what kind of lights would be on? So that's the kind of question we had. Is that okay that we can just leave it there? That's the question we had?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Would the applicant like to address those questions?
Should I just go sit down? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the question. Again, Kevin Sturgeon, Rourke's Companies, Chairman, members of the board. Yeah, so specific to that question, we work closely with the city and city staff based on different photometric plans and lighting plans and whatnot. to make sure we're adhering to A, the code, but B, the neighbors. We obviously want to be a good neighbor, especially, being a long-term partner in the community. So, with that being said, we have a property management group who is always cognizant of this, especially with, in certain areas where we're actually, even adjacent to single-family home communities. So as Derek mentioned, one of the things that we try to do to alleviate that, initially we were proposing a 4-story building there, so we dropped that down to 3, and then, as you mentioned, turn those buildings linear instead of, kind of lateral across the north side there. So, between the setbacks and kind of moving those buildings away from that road, in addition to, the trees that'll be planted there, those are some large trees from a height perspective. We try to mitigate, any potential, light or any other potential kind of issues from a neighbor's perspective. So hopefully that addresses the question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There's no further discussion. We'll close this item. It was for discussion only at this time, and we'll move on to the next agenda item. That takes us to 5.2 DRP 2408, the Planning and Zoning Commission update for discussion only, major development review, permit case number DRP 24-08, U-Haul. A request by Chase Woosley of Cotton Architecture on behalf of property owner and developer Maricopa Real Estate Company for a review of site, floor, elevation, landscape, and photometric plans for proposed self-storage facility on approximately 10 acres of land within the city of Maricopa, generally located at the southwest corner of West Honeycutt Road and North Continental Boulevard. This will be for discussion only. Take it away, Derek.
Thank you, Chairman Robertson. Again, this is agenda item 5.2, U-Haul. This is DRP case number DRP 24-08. The applicant is Chase Woosley of Cotton Architecture on behalf of Maricopa Real Estate Company, which is U-Haul. That is their corporate name. The location is at the southwest corner of West Honeycutt Road and North Continental Boulevard that you see on the vicinity map on the screen. The site is approximately 10 acres in size, and this is a review of the site, floor, landscape, elevation, photometric plans for this self-storage facility. This is a full-service U-Haul facility that is being proposed. As you can see, the highlighted building on the top side, north is to the right. The only way to fit this site plan was to turn it sideways. My apologies. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to see much of it. That is the main self-storage building with internal units. This will also be the full service where there is the retail office for packaging goods, rental of dollies. This full service facility also has a rental of all sizes of trucks. There's also the place where you can go and get the U-Haul tow hitch installed on the back of your car and other things. So altogether, there's going to be 20 commercial structures planned for this site. The building I was just talking about is a 3-story self-storage building. Between all 3 stories, it's going to be approximately 115,000 square feet. On the bottom right of the screen that you see there, that'll be fronting on Honeycutt Road, right at that southwest corner at Continental there. That is a 3-story, I call it a pod storage building. U-Haul has their pack and go, where the unit gets dropped at your house, you fill it, it gets picked up by U-Haul, brought to this warehouse, where it is then transferred to wherever it needs to go, wherever you're shipping it. This is a 25,372 square foot building. It does look like a 3-story building in the elevations. However, it is one big warehouse with racking units inside. There will also be 18 drive-up garage storage buildings. These are going to vary between 1,000 and 2,500 square feet each. Those are those linear buildings that you see on the bottom of the screen there towards the left. Those are all drive-up, single garage. We don't have the floor plans for those yet, but parking for each garage drive-up will be right in front of the garage. The site is providing 28 spaces are required for the main buildings. They're providing 31. And again, the individual garage units will have their own space in front of them. I should note that the retail space in that main building, in that top right, is going to be a little over 2,700 square feet of retail area for their packaging goods. And then there's also indoor warehouse storage and office, about 1,700 square feet. That's for their operations. as I had mentioned, if I didn't, access is going to be off of West Honeycutt Road via North Scarlet, which bisects the site. North Scarlet Drive is a private drive. There'll also be connection to North Continental, which is on the south side, or sorry, the bottom side of the screen there, connects over to the left, and then comes up and connects to North Scarlet. Excuse me, sorry. Those are the access points for this. The main anticipated access will be off Scarlet, either going into the main U-Haul building, the full-service one, or for the storage pack and go, or for the garages. There is approximately 2.7 acres of open space on this 10-acre site. And as you can see on this landscape plan, all those little dots and everything, those are all the trees, and some of the bushes, not all of them. It is a rather large site. There's a lot of drainage issues with it, so there's a lot of basins, and the basins need to be landscaped. So there's a lot of landscape on this site. Here we're moving into the architectural elevations and the renderings. This is the main building that is at that northeast side of the site. What you see here on the top, that is facing Scarlet Drive. That backside, that's what's facing west, west down Honeycutt. The north elevation on the top here, that's what will be facing Honeycutt. And then that south side is that south side of the building where the rental trucks will be located. Here we have the elevations for the east building. This is the pack and go warehouse storage building. You can see the elevation on the north, on the left, top right is the east, bottom left is south, that's what's facing internal. That north part, that's what's facing Honeycutt Road. The design of the buildings there's been 360-degree architecture on these buildings. It does have the public roads on two sides, has a private road down the middle, so a lot of attention to detail on the architecture of this building because they are seen from all angles. Prior to this DRP application being approved, it will meet all zoning ordinance requirements. The proposal is appropriate for the functioning of the site. It's a rather centralized location in the city for a self-storage facility like this. The elevations and color combinations are satisfactory and well integrated and complementary. The applicant has done their public outreach, mailing notification letters to property owners within 600 feet for this Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. They posted this meeting on site, and then we're having the Planning Commission meeting. Staff has not received comment from the public on this DRP application, and I'm happy to answer any questions. We also have representatives from U-Haul Corporate that'll answer any questions that the Commission may have on a technical matter.
Commissioners? What's your pleasure? Commissioner Juarez.
Derek, I have just one question regarding Scarlet Drive. Is the builder going to be responsible for any improvements, or is the city, and how long does Scarlet Drive, is this going to be running way past that development, or?
Yes, Chairman Robertson, Commissioner Juarez. The vicinity map probably is best to illustrate this. Scarlet Drive is a private road that comes from Honeycutt south. If you see that building with the cars parked around it just outside the yellow highlight, that is the post office sorting facility. It is a private drive that goes all the way down to the post office, and it's only serving both sides of the road here for U-Haul and then the post office. So for private drives and private roads, they don't have the same level of standard for development that a regular right-of-way would have. On the west side of North Scarlet, they will be providing the sidewalk from Honeycutt Road down to the public building, which is that main storage building. The Pack and Go building will not have that sidewalk access because it's not a publicly accessible building. There won't be sidewalks on both sides of the road. It's going to be pretty much as it is now, curb, gutter, road, but not sidewalks, not landscaping that we typically see on a public right-of-way.
Commissioner Yocum.
Just one question. The secondary access off of North Continental, is that going to be emergency only, or is it going to be available for continued use?
Chairman Robertson, Commissioner Yocum, that all accesses will be public and full service access. There is no, at this time, any gating or just emergency access. So coming off of Continental, which is the public road, they can pull in between where the Pack and Go building is on that bottom right, and then the drive-up garage is on the bottom left.
Okay, thanks, Derek.
Commissioner Irving.
Yeah, could you go back to the slide you had up there before?
The area?
That one. Yeah, I guess I would eventually like to see, there's a lot of development in the Seven Ranches area, and at one time, I would just love to see an overall general map of that, because none of those roads are improved. Some kind of schedule as that grows in the area, that grows that we've improved. Just the whole flow of the road structure, like Gunsmoke, that one, and whatever. Just, to me, it'd be very helpful to see what plan the city has once Seven Ranches begins to fill out. Yeah, that, you know,
Chairman
just like to
Robinson.
see it, because, again, to answer questions for people who, to let them that area, which is good, but if you drive that area like we do to church every Sunday, you know, those roads are not good. So just what the plan is, that's all I would like to.
Chairman Robinson, Commissioner Irving, yes, we can provide that for the commission. The city engineer and our Public Works Department do have a road plan for the Seven Ranches. It is difficult because right now, a lot of it's privately owned. Right. When developments come in, they have to dedicate the space for the public right-of-ways. If you see on the site plan here, on that right side where Continental is coming down, you see how those blue lines, those are parcel lines? Mm-hmm. You can see that Continental is dedicated that thin strip, but that's only on the west side. Right. So on the east side, that'll have to be dedicated at some point as those other developments come in. And it is, it's a puzzle, putting it all together and then getting these roads put in. I don't want to say it's piecemeal, because at some point, once certain sections come along, other sections may come along as well, but that'll be in capital improvement projects and things like that.
You have a plan.
Anyone else? Okay, Derek, question on water service. It's my understanding the city is now operating the Seven Ranches system. Has that transition fully in place where the city is operating that Seven Ranches water system now?
Chairman Robertson, I believe that is correct. The city is there still is the Seven Ranches Water District. The city is managing it on behalf of them, but then Global Water is managing the physical management of it on behalf of the city, because they have the technical expertise and the resources for it. We don't at this time. Water and sewers being provided by Global Water off of Honeycutt Road.
Okay, that's where I was going, to make sure we had adequate fire flow from whichever system is appropriate. That these are some large square footage buildings with storage of who knows what in them, and fire protection becomes very important. So
Chairman Robinson,
as long as that's
absolutely.
considered.
And part of this DRP review is the fire plans examiner takes a look at these plans, and then through the building permit submittal process, they look at it again to make sure that all of that will be met.
Yep. Very good. Very good. Anything else, commissioners? Okay, that was for discussion only also. Is there anybody in the audience who would like to address this item? Ask a question. Seeing none, we'll move on. Thank you, Derek. Takes us to item 5.3, subdivision 2404. The Planning and Zoning Commission shall discuss and take action on subdivision case sub 24-04 for Anderson Farms Phase 2, a request for preliminary plat approval to subdivide plus or minus 50.79 acres of land into 372 lots on 22 tracts for a residential subdivision. This will be for discussion and action. And we have Alex. Take it away.
Thank you, Chair Robertson, members of the commission. I'm Alexander Bosworth, planner here with the city of Maricopa. And tonight I have a subdivision preliminary plat case for Anderson Farms Phase 2, case number SUB 24-04. This is a request by Lenora Homes to plat a total of 372 lots on approximately 50 gross acres. This is part of Phase 2 of the Anderson Farm subdivision as shown on the slide before you. The proposed density at this phase is 7.32 dwelling units an acre, and included are 163 lots, which are sized 35 by 85 feet, and 209 lots sized 35 by 100. Please note that a prior PAD amendment, which was approved by the City Council on July 16th of this year, allows for the plotting of these lot sizes within Phase 2 only. As shown in these development standards, the City of Maricopa has approved the 2 columns to the right-hand side for Phase 2 only, and this is to accommodate these smaller home products on these 35-foot wide lots to bring more attainable housing toward this subdivision. As noted in the landscape and open space plan before you, the applicant has provided this plan as part of one of the exhibits. Please note that 2 large open space areas have been provided for all residents. Per our code, every residential lot needs to be a minimum of 880 feet walking distance to the nearest open space area, which the applicant has provided. There are also notably various connections to the Anderson Farms Paseo Trails Network, which is a key component of the PAD. And also there are various connections to the future Phase 4 provided to the east. In terms of access and circulation, the main access point for this will be on Anderson Farms Boulevard to the south, which is a collector road with no median. There is 1 vehicular connection provided along Gialla Lane to Phase 1 of the subdivision. And there are various other connections to the future phases in terms of stub outs to the east and to the north. And another point to note is there is 1 pedestrian connection that will lead up to the future commercial corner on the southeast corner of Bowen and Hartman. Staff has analyzed this proposal and conforms with both the general plan, the PAD, and the zoning ordinance, and staff has deemed this to be conformant to all the requirements set forth by these standards. Therefore, staff will recommend that the Planning and Zoning Commission approve this preliminary plat case for Anderson Farms Phase 2, case number SCB 2404. And Chair Robertson, that concludes my presentation. Will we open to any questions or any comments?
Thank you, Alex. Commissioners? Who wants to go first? Commissioner Brim.
Thanks. I'm assuming that these smaller lots are linked or are really aimed at increasing the affordability of these houses. I don't know if the developer can comment on what they anticipate that affordability to actually look like.
In terms of the price range?
Yeah.
Yes, Commissioner. We do have the applicant here from Lennar Homes, and she can answer that question for you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Chair Robertson and esteemed commission members. My name is Vicki Morris. I'm the Senior Project Manager for Lennar, and I represent the Anderson Farms development. The question was, what is the affordability for these smaller home sites? We have 2 home series in Phase 2. One is the Dream Series, and that's kind of based on the American dream of home ownership. And the second one is the Cottage Series. The Dream Series has no garage, but has nice parking, pavers. The HOA will maintain the streets. These homes are all designed to be less than $300,000. Lennar is still helping with closing costs, interest rate buy downs, and helping people get into the homes. But Lennar's philosophy on this is we can't fix the market because we don't control the whole market, but we can control what we present to the buyers. And that's how we came up with this. These are attainable mortgage homes, not affordable homes, but attainable, because these are beautiful homes tucked into what's going to be a beautiful master plan community when we finish, so that the homes aren't isolated and stigmatized. We believe they'll hold their market value. The homes are all in for what Lennar delivers for homes, and we're very, very proud and very excited to see this market. When we added the cottage homes to Phase 1, we sold 7 the first weekend. So we're looking forward to the first-time home buyers, young families starting out that only have one working parent and a parent with a small child to stay at home, school teachers, first responders, those people that have a hard time getting into this heated, cycled up real estate market that is due for a correction, but we don't have control over it, but we can control what we offer. So that's Lennar's philosophy on this. And we're very proud that this will be the first market, Maricopa will be the first market for these homes. We're excited.
What will the cost of them?
They'll be less than 300,000. So
For
they'll
both?
be from 254,000 to 295.
For both series?
The cottage, some of the cottage only has one car garage. And it's interesting because we had a request for that. We had a demand for that. People said, well, I don't need a two-car garage and I don't need to store anything. And when you build a stick-built house, you pay for that space in the garage. And if you don't need it, then that brings the price of the house down.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Yocum.
Yeah, now, when were the 254 and 295,000 numbers determined?
We have it down to a science. We have a matrix that determines the direct cost to us. So we know what it costs us to develop the land. So that's our base. And we spread that over whatever the cost is for the civil development. That's my part of the job. We spread that across the houses, and that's our base. And then we have control over some of our trades. Some of our trades, we own the trades. We own a pipe company. We own some of the other trade members. So we can control the cost. But our trade partners, because we keep them busy, we keep them working, they agreed to keep the prices at a certain level for us because we're giving them, 398 homes. And so they come to us and they say, we can do windows for this and doors for that. That's how we arrive at the price of the houses.
Okay. I ask because I know
Mr.
that
Chair,
there are algorithms.
Commissioner Yocum, real quick, I appreciate the insight. It's very good information. It's very helpful. I just don't want to go down a rabbit hole of discussing the prices. I think it was very beneficial early on, but I don't want to go too far off talking about what we're going to charge, what they could charge, anything like that.
Okay.
Thank you, Nick. So noted. Any other comments? No other comments? I'll entertain a motion.
So moved. That we approve.
Motion for approval by Commissioner Yocum. Second.
Second it.
Thank you, gentlemen.
We'll give a second to Maurice Thomas on the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. Takes us to item 6, report from commission or staff. Commission have any comments they'd like to make? Final comments? Report from Rick.
Chairman Robertson, members of the commission, thank you very much. Just a quick update. It's looking more and more like we're probably not going to have a meeting in September. We've already canceled the first one, and as of right now, we don't have anything tracking for the second one. So that'll put our first meeting in October. I believe it's the 14th is we have items scheduled for. So unless something changes, I would plan on getting together on that date. Second thing, we're coming up to a long holiday weekend. Just would say thank you for your time, appreciate your efforts, and please be safe out there this weekend, and we'll see you in October.
Thank you, Rick.
Thank you.
Final comments, good for the core? No need for an executive session. I'll take a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
So moved by Commissioner Singleton, second. Commissioner Warres, all in favor? Aye. We are adjourned.
All right. See you whenever we see you. Gonna be building on our way, Maurice.
Yeah, man.
We're gonna get tons of storage.
I feel sorry for that little bitty storage place.
I know.
They're being stomped on.
That's why I was just curious what that whole thing's gonna look like, man.
This
'cause
place it reminds me of the places back in the Midwest, man. They do everything.
I know.
Pull up, inside.
There'll be a lot happening in our little area. It's like, whoa.
Rent a truck.
I know.
Put a hitch on. That's a whole island over there.
That's gonna be interesting. See you, Ted.
Yep.
Take it easy, fellas.
So long, Maurice. Isaac, how you doing? Well, I'm doing a lot better since our carpets were cleaned. Yes, we're both.